Take a listen, the Federal Reserve and the US Treasury have more power over the world economy than anyone else. Also, Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell just made a couple of very important statements about the same problem, which will have a huge impact on the cryptocurrency markets in a way that most people did not expect or know about until now. So let's get into these bombshells that Jerome Powell just dropped in a recent speech. He's talking about things that haven't been talked about in years that will have huge effects on the world economy. For that reason, please pay close attention, click the like button, and let's watch the movie. To begin, we will talk about something that Janet Yellen said not long ago. Next, we will talk about Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve. But I need to tell you one thing. You will know how harsh I have been on Janet Yellen if you have been watching my show or any of my live streams. Even more so when it comes to BRICS and the economic partnerships they are making, which are a threat to the US dollar. She also said that Janet Yellen had never said anything about this before. This has just recently changed, though, because Janet Yellen is now paying attention to what Russia, China, and the other world leaders are doing to weaken the US dollar. She finally said something which shows that the Treasury is now doing something about it. This is very important, so you should listen to it. In other words, one of your main worries is keeping the dollar safe. That's important to note because the more sanctions we use, the more countries look for ways to do business financially that don't involve the dollar. Finally, it looks like before I go on, I have to say how funny this is. The US starts a war in Ukraine. The US starts a war with Israel. Most of the world doesn't agree with that, so they start looking for ways to avoid dealing with the US dollar. And now the Secretary is upset that the US put sanctions on many of these countries and says, oh, they're not using the US dollar anymore. That's not right. Okay, don't do that. Of course, they won't use the US dollar if you put bans on them, make it more expensive for them to trade, and then print trillions of dollars to make their currency worthless. It makes sense that they no longer want to use your money. But there are a lot of deeper lessons here that we need to look into more deeply because many of the countries that are moving away from the US dollar are also becoming centers for crypto adoption. The UAE, and more specifically Dubai, is a country I'd like to talk about next. It's true that Dubai is spending billions of dollars on infrastructure so that they can use blockchain technology for cross-border payments and supply chain management. They are not the only country doing these things either. With cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, they are not only moving away from the US dollar, but they are also moving closer to it. Because of this, Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen have said that crypto is a threat to the US dollar. Countries are moving away from the US dollar because of problems with decentralized institutions. Instead of fixing those problems, they are blaming cryptocurrency as the cause of the problems. This is because cryptocurrency is their answer to the flawed dollar system. The irony of that is, again, very strong. All of these lawmakers' heads and chairs are Democrats, which is something they all have in common. One thing I know for sure right now is that Democrats have no idea how to run an economy or talk about any economic issue. Let's look at the terrible management that has happened over the last 4 years. I hope that all of you who watch today's movie can see this. They are making things worse because they don't know what to do. They are blaming the one and only answer instead of being able to find a solution. This needs to change. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about Jerome Powell. He is saying some very important things about the future of the US economy and, of course, cryptocurrency. Pay attention. As a bonus, what I'm about to show you is likely one of the best choices Jerome Powell has ever made. I'm going to quickly describe what that is. But first, let's hear the question and the answer. I'm going to answer this one big question. If you look at interest rates over the last 15 years of monetary policy, it's clear that they are high. It's possible that rates could go down by 50 or 100 basis points at some point in the next year or two. Does the Federal Reserve think this will happen? I guess the real question is, where will interest rates end up? That time when the plague is over for good, and no one knows. This is a great subject to talk about. And I think, and most people agree, that we probably won't go back to the time when rates were very, very low and inflation was very low between the global financial crisis and that pandemic, and, really low. An important part of Europe had 10-year bond rates that were negative, and that wasn't the case here. But I don't think rates will ever be that low again. In the end, you can see the effect, but we think that things like the neutral rate are moved by forces that move slowly. The policy rate we have now is over 5%, and it feels like policy is pretty tight, but not too tight. That means that the average rate of interest has probably gone up a bit, at least for now. This means that rates will be a bit higher. Okay, thanks, sir. That is what Jerome Powell just said is really simple. Rates of interest will never be as low as they were before the plague. Actually, that's a good thing because those very low interest rates did make things worse in a way. I mean, interest rates that are never going up is not good for the business in the long run. Yes, it can make the markets look very good for a while and make people very optimistic, but that won't last forever. That's how soaring gains are followed by cliff-like drops, which I don't think any of us want. And I think that most of us will want a more stable financial future. This will definitely play out in the crypto markets as well. All of our portfolios should do very well if we can get a little more price stability in the crypto markets while still getting a big chunk of the gain. In the long run, we can make a lot more money if we play our cards right. What Jerome Powell did by not lowering rates all the way back to zero is a good thing because of this. Loan rates should be between 1% and 2%. For the business, this is good news. This makes people who take out loans want to put more money down in the long run because they know they will get a good return. And that's exactly what the US economy needs to get prices under control. I'm going to give you guys an amazing deal from Margex because right now is one of the best times to buy cryptocurrency. If you just trade on their exchange, you'll get access to thousands of dollars in bonus funds and be able to make a lot more money on all of your trades. Use my referral code LEVY20 to get huge discounts on all of your trades as well. To do this, go to the referral area and enter it. It's also very easy to start trading. For example, to buy XRP, all you have to do is go to the trading area. After creating an account, you pick the level of leverage you want to use and the amount you want to trade with. Then all you have to do is press buy market. And that's it, that easy. Make sure to use the link I gave you in the description to sign up. Come back to the movie. And this is great because a lot of important people in the crypto space are now changing their minds about crypto because they can see it as a world reserve and a very good way to keep money safe. Mark Cuban is one of those people who thinks Bitcoin could become a world reserve asset, a lot like gold. Really, I want you to picture a world where cryptocurrency is the main form of money. I mean, the US economy did really well when it was on the gold standard, which was about 60 years ago. To be honest, I wish we had never left the gold standard, but now we have the Bitcoin standard or the crypto standard, since it could be any other cryptocurrency, which is great. And for my part, I believe that Bitcoin is a great way to save money, and I believe that all banks should use XRP to settle foreign and cross-border payments. Another thing I think is that payment tools should be built on top of HBAR. I believe that each coin will fill a specific need in this hugely expanding field, and right now is a great time to get into crypto in general. Things are going so well, and all of the main governing bodies are now in favor of cryptocurrency. Coins are being bought like never before. Now is the time to get involved with them. That's what I stand by. So if you're excited about everything I talked about in this video, if you think the US economy is going to do well, and if you think cryptocurrency is going to blow up in the near future, I want you to join me on this trip. Hit the like button, follow, and let me know what you think about what Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell just said in the comments section below. See you next time.